Today is a good day to be at One Life Church. Today is a special day, so we are so glad that you joined with us. Hey, if this is our very first time meeting, my name is Jimmy, and I am a part of the team here. Now, today is a special day. Today, we are starting our brand new series called Centered. Now, if you've been here for a while, you might be asking, Jimmy, didn't we already do that series a couple of years ago? And the answer is technically yes. Yes, we did. So here's how Pastor Brett explained how it's different from our old series. So in the first version of Centered, we talked about beliefs about Jesus. And today and throughout the series, we're going to be talking about the beliefs of Jesus, seeing how he actually viewed the world. Now, if you weren't here for our first Centered series, you are in for a treat because throughout the series, we're going to be watching what's called our Centered films. Basically, what those are is our creative team, not including me, unfortunately, went out to Utah and went on location and filmed some really cool short films that do a good job of explaining the content we're going through. Actually, let me give you a sneak peek. All right, that's all you get. If you're new to the series and new to One Life in general, we actually have a gift for you. If this is your very first time here, we want to celebrate that. We do that by giving you a gift. Now, to get this gift, I need one thing from you. All you have to do is grab the connection card from the seat in front of you, fill that out, and then take it to our new here area in the lobby. Oh, actually, there's something I almost forgot. Last week, we talked about one of the great ways that you can engage with the next generation is through these blue cards. You'll have them at your seats, and basically what they are is these are different action steps that you can take to really engage with the next generation over the next 3 months. And the reason we do this is because here at One Life, we understand how important it is to pass on our faith to the next generation. And filling out the blue card is how you can be a part of it. If you haven't already, you can fill out that blue card, and then when the offering buckets come around, just put the blue card in the bucket. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. And now let's throw it over to our worship teams.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Lindy, and we're so glad you're joining us today. We're going to start out with a song called Honey in the Rock, and I just wanted to remind us of this passage of scripture that talks about Jesus being our rock. So it says, "Be my rock of refuge to which I can always go. Give the command to save me, for you're my rock and my fortress." And so I love this song because it's just a reminder that our source, our nourishment comes out of our relationship with Jesus. And so stand with us if you're at one of our campuses, if you're watching online. Let's just join in worship today. And we'll have Allie lead us.
Keep trust in you, Jesus. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in you, Jesus. Oh, how sweet it is to trust in you, Jesus.
Readings from the Bible and church history. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible. Whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is also head of the body, the church, and he is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he himself will come to have first place in everything. For it is with the Father's good pleasure for all the fullness to dwell in him, and through him to reconcile all things to himself, having made peace through the blood of his cross. Through him, I say, whether things on earth or things in heaven. Colossians 1:15 through 20. We believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, begotten from the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, of the same essence as the Father. Nicene Creed.
We're going to just keep that heart of worship. This song is just a reminder that Jesus is alive, so we can be alive, no longer walking around as dead. We can be truly out of the grave, and so that's what this one really points to.
Oh, shame is a prison as cruel as the grave. Shame is a robber, and he's come to take my name. Oh, love is my redeemer, lifting me up from the ground. Love is the power where my freedom song is found. Let's do that again. Shame is a prison. You guys sing it. As cruel as the grave. Shame is a robber, and he's come to take my name. Oh, love is my redeemer. That's Jesus lifting me up from the ground. Love is the power where my freedom song is found. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I heard that trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise up out of the ground. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Oh, fear is a liar with a smooth and velvet tongue. Fear is a tyrant, he's always telling me to run. Oh, love is a resurrection, and love is a trumpet sound. Love is my weapon, he's gonna take my giants down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. between death and life. There on a tree, the Lamb of God was crucified. As he went on down to hell, he took back every key. He rose up as a lion, and he sets the captives free. There ain't no There ain't no grave could hold his body down. You know, Jesus rose out of that grave, and because he's alive, we're alive, and so we sing. Since he walked out of the grave, we're gonna be walking, we're gonna live alive for Christ. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Wanna live for him, yeah. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Do that again. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. Since you walked out of the grave, I'm walking too. There ain't no grave. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I heard that trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise up out of the ground. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body gonna hold my body down. Yeah. Yes, give him a hand. Praise Jesus, he's alive.
Hi, One Life. My name is Allie. We're going to be doing a new song this morning called At the Altar. And this song just talks about how Jesus wants us to lay everything down at his feet, whether that be our happiness, our sadness, the anxiety we have, all of our fears. He wants all of it. He wants us. And in my own life, I have had expectations and hopes and dreams that I thought that I wanted, and I thought that was the path for me. But he provided something so much better by having me go through a moment of broken dreams, and I was devastated at the time, but after everything that has happened since then, he has done great things in my life, and I could have never imagined anything of what he has done for me and the people that I love. So I invite you to, whether you came in ready to worship and joyful this morning, or you barely made it through the door, I invite you to just lay everything down at the feet of Jesus and give him everything. I'm removed. All of the things I would move further from you. A thank you could not be enough. It's not lost on me what you saved me from. I'm stumbling, I know, but I'm come to give you this offering. My worship I'll never withhold. Broken, but you call it beautiful. Where the tears of the desperate reach the feet of the Savior. Nothing I wouldn't offer. There's no waste at the altar. Where the heart of surrender meets the hands of the Maker. Nothing I wouldn't offer. There's no waste at the altar. Things I treasure, oh, couldn't come close to your presence. Grace upon grace, who could measure? No, nothing could measure. And I'm returned, oh, back to the one I am running, to give him my love, 'cause he took a sinner like me, washed me with grace and then set me free. Oh, where the tears of the desperate reach the feet of the Savior. Nothing I wouldn't offer. There's no waste at the altar. Where the heart of surrender meets the hands of the Maker. Nothing I wouldn't offer. There's no waste at the altar. There's no waste at the altar. There's no waste at the altar. Oh, just bring it all to the Father. Come lay your broken dreams at the altar, and every victory at the altar. Fear and anxiety cannot lift you. There's no waste at the altar. Let your heart sing out and tell him you love him. Don't make it perfect, just let it be honest. He can use anything, sit back and watch. There's no waste at the altar. Come lay your broken dreams at the altar, and every victory at the altar. Fear and anxiety cannot live here. There's no waste at the altar. Let your heart sing out.
There's no waste at the altar. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. There's no waste at the altar. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. There's no waste at the altar. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. Lay it all down, lay it all down. There's no waste at the altar. He can use anything. He can use anything. There's no waste at the altar. There's no waste at the altar. There's no waste at the altar. He can use anything. Sit back and watch. There's no waste at the altar.
And Lord, how true is that? Through our disappointments, failures, through the joy, through your goodness, all of it is to just bring us to the place where we're just at your feet. And we lay it all down. And we really truly want to make you the trajectory of our heart, of our life. And Lord, if there are things that need to be removed, I pray today you give us courage to truly lay it all down. No matter what it is. Help us to truly fix our eyes on you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Worship is more than just singing songs. It's more than just reading your Bible sometimes. It's us saying, God, you're worthy of every aspect of our life. And so thank you for joining us for that time of worship through song. But we're also going to talk about worship in some other ways. And one of those ways that we can worship the Lord is through giving. So as the buckets go around, you can give that way, or you can drop those blue cards in there because some of you didn't fill those out last week. Or if you weren't here, you can start filling those out now as well. And so I remember in 7th grade, I had a teacher that would bring us Cap'n Crunch. He would just bring boxes of it to class almost every day. He had all the toys and prizes that were in there, and he would just bring Cap'n Crunch. And we're like, why do you care so much about Cap'n Crunch? And is it Captain or Captain? I think it's Cap'n, C-A-P''N. Cap'n Crunch. So I was like, we were like, why do you care so much? He's like, oh, I've invested in the stock market, and part of the stock that I invested in was the parent company of Cap'n Crunch. So now he just bought Cap'n Crunch all the time, and we get prizes from the cereal boxes and all this stuff because he invested in it. He cared about it. And then because he cared about it, I started caring about it. So I didn't go buy Cap'n Crunch by any means, but I thought about this because when we invest in something, we start to care about it, whether it's our time or our money or resources. And so that's why one of the boxes on this little blue card here, it says for the next 3 months, I'll commit to regular giving at church. Because when you invest in something, you start to care about it. You start to worry about, okay, well, it's not going so well over here, or what are they teaching in our kids' areas and things like that. And the more that you invest into something, the more you care about it. And so that's why part of giving at church is important, because you start to invest into not just the building or whatever, but you invest into, okay, what is God doing here? And how is God using me to help transform lives around me, the next generation, all that stuff. And so as you get excited about it, you'll start to talk to others about it, and you'll start to tell your friends or coworkers or classmates or things like that about, hey, this is what's going on in our church. Because why? Well, you're invested in it. You care about it. So if that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, you can join us in generosity. If you'd like to join us in generosity, you can do that by giving in the bucket, or going to onelifechurch.org, click on give, or our new Church Centered app, which you should download today. So hey, thank you so much for joining us for this time. Now let's get ready to hear from our lead pastor, Brett Nicholson.
Well, hey, welcome everybody. So for a few of you, that may have looked eerily familiar, and I'm going to explain why that is a little bit later. But where I want to begin is I want to show you just 3 images, okay, that are all related to one another in today. The first image that I want you to see is a set of stairs, okay, set of stairs, there it is. The second image I want you to see is just a rock that has an inscription on it that looks like somebody took a bite out of it there on the right of it. And then this final image is one that you may remember from the news. It was called the Costa Concordia back in 2012, a capsized ship. All right, so with that as a background, what they all have to do with one another can be found in John chapter 18. Okay, John chapter 18 is where we're going to go. And the background for this is that is the night before Jesus is crucified and he's put on trial, okay? So they go and get him, very famous story, obviously most of us know. They grab him from the Garden of Gethsemane, and the first place they take him is to the house of the high priest. Now those stairs that you saw, archaeologists and historians are virtually certain that those stairs, and you can see them to this day, those are the stairs that Jesus would have walked up to the house where he was going for his trial. You can actually see the steps where they're virtually certain that Jesus did walk. So at this place, they decided that Jesus was deserving of death, but they cannot execute him. They don't have the authority to do that. The Jewish people are under the authority of the Romans, and so they take him to the governor at that time named Pontius Pilate. Now, Pontius Pilate was dismissed. His existence was dismissed by a lot of people who were skeptical in the historical and archaeological world until 1961, where they discovered that stone that had the inscription on it. Up in Caesarea, they found a stone that had Pilate's name on it and it had the years where he and Caiaphas and Jesus all would have been alive at the same time and interacting with one another. It's considered a major breakthrough in that. So it kind of gives historical veracity to the conversation that we're about to look at. So basically they say they want Jesus to die, and the reason they want Jesus to die, and they think he deserves to die, is because he claims to be a king. So Pilate asked Jesus, are you a king? Because yeah, if you claim to be a king, we've got a king and you're not it, and so it's over for you. So Jesus says, basically, yes, but my kingdom is not of this world. And this is where the passage picks up. This is verse 37 in John chapter 18. It says, therefore, Pilate said to him, so you are a king? Jesus answered, you say correctly, I am a king. For this I have been born, and for this I have come into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. Pilate said to him, what is truth? And actually that's where the conversation ends, and it goes on from there. So this passage is filled to overflowing, really, of insight into how Jesus looked at himself, how he looked at others, how he looked at reality in total. You can see all kinds of things about Jesus just in this brief interchange. I think it's one of the greatest interchanges ever recorded in human literature. It's just this brief little thing where Jesus identifies himself very, very deeply to someone who's quizzing him down. Now, first of all, you can see that Jesus believed there was another realm that was arguably more real than this one and impacted this one. And he said he's in charge of that realm. And then it goes on to say, he came to testify. He said, this is the reason I was born. This is Jesus' self-perception. His view of the world, his view of life was that he came to testify to the truth. So Jesus also believed that there was such a thing as truth. There was a reality that you and I could know because he came to tell us about it. And he goes so far as to say, if you're on the side of the truth, you listen to me. Now, C.S. Lewis, the writer, famously set up this, what some have called the trilemma when it comes to Jesus. That Jesus can't be just kind of thought of as just a nice teacher who said a lot of good things. And this verse is arguably one of the best ones to demonstrate that from. C.S. Lewis said, okay, you either have to accept him as Lord, like he's really telling the truth. And there he claims, I am a king, there's another realm, I'm in charge of this realm, and I've come into the world to tell people that that is really, really real, and it really is true. So he's either telling the truth, or secondly, he's lying. He's just pulling this out of his head. He's just kind of this corrupt person who's telling a bunch of lies about himself and about reality. Or the third one is he's crazy. Which, I'm a king over a realm, you know, that kind of thing going on. He doesn't have everything put together. Now, there's a fourth that some have pointed out, and I think it's worth doing, is that maybe somebody would have put those words in the original Jesus' mouth and they really weren't there originally. And this is the one I hear when I dialogue with people who don't necessarily believe with this stuff. It's very popular to say that, you know, these words that we have like in the Gospels are kind of like the game of telephone. You ever heard that one before? Well, we don't really know what the original guy said. It kind of got built and exaggerated over time. Guys, please, and we're going to talk about this more in depth next week, but please don't buy that because it's not even remotely true. Between manuscripts, between archaeological evidence and historical evidence, you can be certain as we can get 2,000 years removed from this stuff, that when you're reading Jesus' claims, they are the real ones that he made. And that's very important because Jesus believed in this thing called truth and why it impacts. And he said, if you're on the side of the truth, you're gonna follow me. So he really did say that in my view, and it's up to you to process that. Now, with that said, I want you to hold that thought. And I'm gonna go into a territory now that will seem like I've left the subject altogether, but I promise I haven't, okay? Just hang in there with me, all right? So I've been out the last 2 Sundays. And the reason I've been out is because I was on a cruise in the Caribbean. Yes, I know everybody feels very sorry for me in that regard, okay? And even better, I didn't have to pay for it, so I was able to enjoy it even more, all right? So, the cast of characters in this story is that myself and my wife, we went, and I have an older daughter and her husband and her little boy, who's 1 year old. They live down in Orlando, Florida. And then I have a younger daughter who has a 7-year-old son, a 5-year-old son, and a 2-year-old daughter. We all gathered together. I also have a son and his wife. They weren't able to go with us. But we got together, and it was suggested that we go on a cruise together, and it was. It was a great excuse to be together and enjoy one another for a week. So those of you, if you've ever been on a cruise, I had never been on one. It's the very first one I've ever gone on. And the very first thing you do when you get on the ship is you go to what's called your muster station, all right? You go to your muster station, and that's your safety speech. Because, if you hadn't noticed, that it can. It's not just the Titanic. The Costa Concordia did capsize back in 2012. So things can happen. They're very, very safe, but they gather you up and they say a few things. The first thing they say is, if there's a problem, if the ship is going down, then there will be a code alarm that comes on, and it's 7 shorts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then an 8th long. That's what you know. Now, when you hear that, you are supposed to go to your muster station. That's the second thing. That's where you get your life vest. And then he spent the rest of the time, it was only a few minutes, showing you how to put on a life vest and what it did. It's got the little light here and the little whistle there, just like in Titanic, you know, that kind of stuff. So, all right, great. Then you leave. And it was about 5 minutes or whatever else. So we had a great time. It is true. If I look heavier, that's why. You know, anything, man, you put on a few. Yes, I have, because you eat like you're getting paid on those things. That's a real deal. So we had a blast. We did some stops and all that, going through the week. Friday night comes, and my wife and I say to our daughter, she's been in the room with her 3 kids, and it's been a little chaotic, a little hard. So we said, why don't we stay in your room, and we'll stay with the boys, and you and the 2-year-old can go down and stay in our room to give you a little bit more peace, you know, overnight. So we were doing that. So my wife and I are in the boys' room. We go to sleep, and it was about 1:10 a.m., I think, that I awakened to, and at first I think, I don't remember setting an alarm. I mean, I was super out of it. I'm very deep REM sleep. Like, what is happening? Is that just in our room? Is that in all rooms? Is that, what is that? You know, it's funny how disoriented you are. And then my wife and I are looking at each other and kind of going, what in the world's happening? And then finally it dawns on me, holy cow, that speech they gave at the muster station, it's happening. You know, and I thought, no, it's just a test. They're gonna run a test at 1:10 a.m.? Oh, come on, that's not gonna happen. So, oh wow, okay. But as this thing is going on, we're trying to get oriented and trying to get dressed and just confused about everything, there's something weird about it though. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not the right code. They said 7 shorts and a long. 7 shorts and a long. That's not 7 shorts and a long. I started examining this thing. Like, I don't know what they're throwing out, but that's not it. So it was a little confusing. I went over and I kept reading the door because they had the protocol on the back of the door. 7 shorts and a long. 7 shorts. That doesn't sound like 7 shorts and a long to me. So something else is going on. My wife later told me, I got so tired of you going over that, just reading that stupid sign, you know. I'm a stickler for the details. So 7 shorts and a long, you give me that, I'll do something. So no, but I wasn't the only one because all of us, we were kind of confused over the signal. So we step out in the hallway, and you can imagine, I feel for the people on the Titanic because everybody's just kind of wandering around. There were no staff, there were no workers, there were no crew. No one's down there. We're all standing in the hallway. What do you think it is? You know, it's a wrong code. The guy next door to me, he said, wrong code, I don't know. Finally, at one point, there was a lady who had her phone to her ear. She sticks her head out of there's these hallways are like the distance of 3 football fields. She's got her phone to her ear, and she yells out, someone's jumped overboard. That's what it is. And I went, oh, okay. And that's a terrible thing, but that explained it. That explained it. That's a different code. They didn't tell us about that code, to be fair. Okay. But then it keeps going, and there's no announcement, no crew, no anything. The alarm just keeps going. And then the rumor mill starts going, and I heard the next day that went all over the ship, that had happened. And so finally, there's this also rumor going, no, it wasn't someone that jumped overboard. So we need to go to our muster station. We need to go to our muster station. Well, okay, so we start going up there towards that. Well, in the meantime, I find out later, my daughter and her husband and her little boy, they're in another part of the ship on a different floor. They had the same thought. What in the world, you know, this wrong code. Let's go out, let's make it to our muster station. They started going up, they're kind of calm. My daughter sees a crew member running down the hall with a life vest on. And she's like, ah! You know, at that point, I mean, she's in tears. She got a 1-year-old. I mean, it's getting real. I talked to another guy that I met. He was a former military medic. And he said he made it to his muster station, and people were flipping out big time. And he said people were crying, they were hyperventilating, they were having panic attacks and all this kind of stuff. We talked to a guy that was in one of the we were down at steerage, you know, remember the Irish people kind of playing music down in the boat in the Titanic thing? That was us, you know, that was my crew. And then you had the kind of the rich people up there. One of the rich guys, he said that not only was the alarm going off, but the ship's horn was blowing. Have you ever heard a cruise ship's horn? It's like foghorn thing. He said that thing was going off in the meantime. He said people were crying, people were flipping out. So we're all wondering what's going on. Now here's the thing, is that didn't go on for like 3 minutes. It went on for 32 minutes, okay? 32 minutes of people scrambling around wondering what's going on. Finally, the cruise director comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a little bit of a problem. It's okay. We had a computer glitch, and it overrode our ability to make announcements at all. That's what it was. Everybody go back to bed. And you're kind of like, okay, thank you very much. Now hold that thought. Now, why am I telling you all that? Between the passage and that little story that we'll come back to here in a second, we're starting a series today, and it's a series that we've done before, kind of. Back in 2019, we did a series called Centered. And Centered is all about worldviews. And the reason that we did it was, and we put a lot of production into it. We've actually made films that we're gonna watch, and we've shown these before. But the reason I wanted to come back to it is because this kind of material helped me about as much as anything in life to navigate a culture that is more pluralistic now than ever, more unbelieving now than ever. It gave me the equipment to really how to think about it. And so I think it's something, according to our mission and faith and everything else in this society, it's arguably the most important kind of material that you could hear because it examines how people really view the world. Now, we're going to do it kind of the same. Some of the things the same that we did back in 2019, but we are going to take it from a completely different angle. So it's also new in that way. Back in 2019, we talked about beliefs about Jesus. This time, we're gonna talk about the beliefs of Jesus. We're gonna see how he viewed the world. Now, when I use the word worldview, let me give you a definition that will be kind of our operating definition of worldview. What do we mean by worldview? Your worldview is what you believe about the most important and meaningful questions in life. That's what religions do, that's what non-religions do. Every single person in this world has an answer, either formal or informal or unconscious or conscious, to the most important and meaningful questions in life. Now, just a couple examples. What are those questions? One of them is, where did everything come from? I mean, did you ever notice that reality was here when you showed up? It was here, it's already here. Explanations, and there's lots of different options, formal ones, religious ones, non-religious ones, of how everything got here. Another one of the great questions, what's the meaning of life? What happens when we die? And there's different options out there in our society of what really does happen when you die, or what the meaning of life is, and all this kind of stuff. And we're gonna go over those, but that's very important to see, all right? Now, looking at the worldview of Jesus, What do we learn from that passage? He had a worldview. You have a worldview. Even people that aren't religious have worldviews. You do. You've answered those questions inside your own mind, to your own satisfaction, one way or the other. Jesus answered it for himself. And he said that his role in life was to testify to the truth, the real thing. There is a real truth. Of all the answers, there's a true one that really is real, and he made the claim that he's the king of it, and what he's telling you is what is actually real. And everyone who's into the actually real is gonna follow and listen to him. That's quite a statement. Think about that. That's a bold statement. That's why the Lord, liar, lunatic thing, right? Well, think about this. Your worldview has characteristics. Everybody has them. They all have different answers. There's different options. There's different religions. There's different belief systems. But let me give you 3 characteristics of worldviews that we can learn from this story and we can learn from this passage. And the first one's this. Your worldview can be true. Your worldview can be true. So I want you to think of that ship as a collective of people who were going through a common experience. We had our own little universe there going on. And a thing happened that the more they talked about it, no one knew what was going on originally. Even the captain, everybody else, they didn't know what was happening. It was a computer glitch that overrode other systems. So they claimed, There's also conspiracy theorists about what all happened. But there was a truth about what happened, that in the end. Your worldview can be true. Jesus said, for this I have been born, and for this I have come into the world, to testify to the truth. Jesus believed there was such a thing as the truth. Now, as the truth. Now my favorite, and then Pilate asked him, what is truth? If you've been listening to me, I got this years ago, I've repeated it many times. My personal favorite definition of the truth was by a scholar named John Frame. And his definition of the truth is what is. It's what's actual. See, there was a truth, and the truth on that ship was that there was a computer glitch that overrode the system where they couldn't announce things. That was the truth of the matter. It wasn't burning, it wasn't sinking, no one had jumped overboard or any of that kind of thing. There was an actual truth. Now, I noticed, for me, I bought into the religion of the man overboard theory. It calmed me down. I was like, ow! And it's funny when I look back on it, I think, why did I believe her? It's because she had a thing up to her ear. Hey, everybody! Like what did the captain call this lady down on the 5th deck? Well, I just want you to know and no one else that someone jumped overboard. That's the information. But there was something about the fact that, hey, it was a man overboard. Everything's fine. I bought into that. That's what I believed. That was my thing. It wasn't true, but so there's a truth. That brings me to the second thing. Your worldview can be false. Mine was. I was the overboard. There wasn't someone who jumped overboard. There wasn't. It was a very good explanation. It explained the urgency. It explained the alarm. This is very serious, but it's not the, 7 shorts and a long thing. But I remember it calmed me down. I was like, okay, that's what's really happening. That makes a lot of sense to me. My daughter was on the we're sinking and we're all gonna die religion why? Because she had evidence behind it, because a crew member literally ran in front of her with a life vest on. Every man for himself, that kind of stuff. She was in that corner of belief. But your worldview can be false. You can believe wrong things. Here's what's most fascinating, is that there were people, my military friend, he said when he went to his muster station, people obviously were in my daughter's religion, belief system, because they thought we were going down. The richer guy that had the really nice room, that he literally said, when he was telling us about it, I thought I was gonna die. I thought that was it. We talked to a worker a couple days later. She said, oh yeah, absolutely, I thought I was dying. There was a huge belief system that people believed that. Now, this gets us to one of the most basic and frustrating flaws of modern life. There were people in that muster station that my military friend got to who believed passionately, emotionally, that ship was going down. But it didn't go down. You can believe something passionately, you can believe something emotionally, you can believe something where it makes you cry, you can believe all kinds of things, and it can still be false. And just because you believe it passionately doesn't make it real, it doesn't make it true. It just means you believe it. And the flaw that we have in modern thinking is if you believe it, it's true. You ever heard this? It's true for you. Well, think about that statement for a second. Did the ship go down for the people that believed the ship was going to go down? They were going to die? Of course not. Truth doesn't bend to your beliefs. Beliefs are about its object, what's really happening. I believe this, and I can be accurate, it can be true. My son-in-law, I'm proud of him, he was a technical glitch guy. It's kind of that way. Oh, I thought it was a technical glitch the whole time. Of course, he was having to deal with my daughter at a 1-year-old. She was, I don't think it is, Understood. Finally, your worldview will impact how you live. Will impact how you live. What you really believe, your true worldview. Some of us have worldviews that we say we believe, and there's other that we truly believe. And what you truly believe will impact your behavior. It's inevitable. Because you see life this way, you will do this. My military friend, he was of the mindset it was going down. But he kicked into military mode. He said, I went through this detailed objective. He started grabbing all the survival tools that he could get a hold of. He had the presence of mind to literally stuff cash into his pocket thinking, I'm probably gonna have to bribe somebody to get where I need to go. I actually thought about that. He said a guy in his family was at the blackjack table and said, they're not getting out of giving me my winnings. This is not gonna be any excuse. That's how he responded. There were people having panic attacks. There were people being emotional. There were people flipping out. So my grandsons were in our room. One of them, we tried to get him dressed. We said to get dressed, and he put on his shirt. He had a collared shirt, and it was on backwards, and he was just kind of standing there in the middle of the room the whole time. Well, we're all going, what in the world's going on? I'm reading the sign. It says 7 shorts and a long, And then he's kind of standing there, just kind of calm. The other was sitting up in his bunk crying. So I quizzed him down the next day. I said, hey, Judah is the older one. Why were you just standing there? He said, I knew everything was going to be fine. I said, why'd you think that? He said, well, we've had a great time this whole time and everything's been safe. Why would it go bad in the end? Now, that's not the best reasoning in the world, but that's what was going through his head. That's how he processed it. I asked the other one, 5-year-old, why are you crying? He said, I thought the fire was real. He went to his school drills, right? That sound was a fire drill to him, and he thought the fire was real. In other words, you react to what you truly believe. That's why Jesus' statement, I'm a king, and I was born to testify to the truth. There was an authoritative voice, and once an authoritative voice, and a lot of people were mad that it wasn't the captain, by the way. It was the cruise director guy that came on and said it was a computer glitch. People were so mad that the captain came on the next day. Here's where his words, just between you and I, he goes, well, the system last night, we apologize, but it was doing what it was supposed to do. And then he went on to talk about the weather, and we're like, people nearly died of heart attacks during this whole thing. But an authoritative voice came and said, this was the issue, this is the truth, this is the issue. And Jesus, when he's talking to Pilate, he's saying, hey, yeah, I'm a king. My kingdom is not of this world, but it impacts this world. And if you want the truth about what's really going on in life, you follow me, you listen to me. That answers everything. That's the claim. And it will impact your behavior if you really listen to him. Now, here's what our goal is over the next few weeks. Is to listen to him, and the more we believe what he says, the more we will automatically, it's human nature, we will act like he would want us to act if we believe what he has us believe. Okay, so here we're gonna do a couple of things. One, the reason I'm so passionate about this particular kind of subject matter is it has helped me a lot in having conversations with people who don't believe the same things we do. And so one of the things we're gonna add is there's a series of videos on our YouTube channel that are just about how to use this material to share your faith and kind of talk to people who don't necessarily believe the things that you believe. We're gonna do that over the 7 weeks. There is like 3-4 minute videos that you can watch. The second thing is we're gonna show the films that we showed a few years ago that we made out in Utah. And the reason we do them is twofold. Number one, they reinforce what we just said. It kind of repeats what I just said from a completely different angle because I want this stuff to get down into your heart and your soul. And second of all, I think you can share it in your social media. It's designed to speak to both believers and unbelievers. So share it on your social media if you think it's worthwhile stuff. And I think it will help you deeply really understand how Christ viewed the world and therefore how we should view the world. Watch this film.
You could say the way we experience life is along two tracks. One track is the world that we see, taste, touch, smell, experience, and explore. The world of the almost unimaginable number and variety of things. Natural things, mountains, rivers, grass, moose, flowers, strawberries, canyons, rams, really high cliffs, cicadas, ants, elk. One of these things, snow, you get the idea. Add to that, there's all the things that we've learned to make out of the natural things we see, like Pez dispensers or Cheetos. That's the first track. Then there's the other track. That's how we respond to the things on the first track. This is the world of the unseen, our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions of the world, what we conclude about life from looking at the things around us. All this stuff we're surrounded by inspires deeper questions. The first and most obvious is, where did it all come from? Why is all of this here? Philosophers have long discussed the question, why is there something rather than nothing? And most of us have wondered, is all this stuff here for a reason? Did someone or something mean for it all to be here, or did it just come into existence on its own? What about us, humans? We're nothing if not self-reflective. We are the ones who are looking at all the things and asking questions like, where did it all come from? Then we look at ourselves and wonder, who are we? Are we special? Mark Twain put it, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Are we accidental? Are we just animals with better fashion sense who enjoy games and texting and watching TV? Are we merely oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus with dashes of potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium, but nothing else? Are we all physical, or is there something extra-dimensional about us? Then there's a question you can't avoid if you stick around long enough. With all the wonderful things around, what's wrong? Something's off, but what is it? There's beauty in the world, but there's also the ugly, the difficult, and the tragic. Is there a cure for what's wrong? If so, what is the cure? Is it more knowledge or leisure time, money, mindfulness, more notoriety, better sitcoms, or maybe just a lot of chocolate? And then there's the painful fact that all of us die. From everything we can see, life seems destined to simply end. Not only for us, but also for the whole universe. In light of this really depressing fact, is there hope? Is there hope even beyond death? Is there a whole new reality we get to enter into where death is not a threat? Or when it's over, is it just over? All of us, in one form or another, have wondered about these kinds of things. And what's more, we've probably answered them, at least sufficiently for ourselves. Our answers to those kinds of questions collectively is called a worldview. Our worldview is our beliefs about the most important and meaningful questions of life. And our worldview guides our values, decisions, and viewpoints much more than we realize. Worldviews can be formal. The major religions have doctrinal statements designed to say, this is the answer to the questions. The lesser-known religions may not have formal statements, but they do have teachings and explanations. But it's important to note that worldviews don't have to be religious. You can have a very irreligious worldview, or a worldview that rejects organized religion's answers. Worldviews can be informal and personal. For instance, many people answer the questions by mashing up various formal systems and then customizing them to their own views. Someone might like the Christian answer to the question of who we are as human beings, the atheist answer to what the cure for the problem is, And the Hindu answer to, is there hope even beyond the grave? But here's an important question. Can worldviews be true? And for that matter, can they be false? Can a worldview that I hold on the inside be false on the outside? Is my worldview accurate to what reality actually is? Are my beliefs true? Worldviews are different from one another. Really, really different. Sometimes their differences are mutually exclusive, and that leads us to a problem that's going to take some thought. What do you believe about the most important and meaningful questions of life?
Jesus said that everybody who is of